Here's the second item that you and I learn about God in this passage. Number 2, God is unique. There are no other gods that are like him. God is unique. There are no other gods that are like him. Verse number 11. The wise men, the Chaldeans, magicians speak, astrologers. It is a rare thing that the king requireth, and there is none other that can show it before the king except the gods, whose dwelling is not with flesh. Gods don't dwell in flesh, do they? Do they? Is there a God that dwells in flesh? Huh? He just said there's no gods that dwell in flesh. He was just a spirit being. There's no humanity to Jesus, is there? Was Jesus human, or was it just a ghost? Was he a real man? Was he? No, gods don't dwell in flesh. That's what the verse says. That's what the Chaldeans are saying. Gods don't dwell in flesh, do they? Gods don't dwell in flesh. King, what are you thinking? Only the gods could declare the gods don't indwell in flesh. Oh, but there is a God in heaven, and he did manifest himself in the flesh. He did come in the flesh. He wasn't just a spirit that swooned on the cross. He was the God-man. He was God come in the flesh. He took humanity upon him. He came and he dwelt among us. 1 Timothy 3:16 says, without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. God was manifest in the flesh. Romans 1 and verse number 3 states that he was made of the seed of David according to the flesh. Philippians 2 and verse number 27, verse 7, but made himself of no reputation and took upon him the form of a servant and was made in the likeness of men. Oh yes, there is a God that dwells in flesh. The false gods of this world don't. But there is a God that manifested himself in the flesh. You look down in verse number 27. Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king hath demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, and the magicians, and the soothsayers show unto the king. Daniel's pretty much pointing out a principle here. The astrologers and the magicians and the soothsayers are not of God. They're of the wicked one, the devil. Christian, don't fool around with that stuff. Don't fool around with the stars and the astrology, soothsaying, charlatans, liars, antichrists of our time. But there's this person, and I think they can tell the future, and they can talk about loved ones that have gone on before, and they can see into the future, or they can contact the dead. That's necromancy. God condemned that in the Bible. Don't fool around with that stuff. God gives us clear warning concerning that. God is unique. There are no other gods that are like him. They did not manifest themselves in the flesh, but God did. Took upon himself the form of a servant, dwelt among us. Number 3,